Welcome to the lesson on slope-intercept form. We know that an equation given in slope-intercept form provides us with a couple of pieces of very useful information. Let's take a closer look and put down some notes. Grab a piece of notebook paper or use the back of your printed copy. When an equation is in slope-intercept form, we're quickly able to identify the slope and the intercept for a line. In this case, we know m2 is the slope and -3 is the intercept. Even if the equation is given to us in a different order, if you bring the -3 term up front and our x term behind it, we still know that the slope is 2 and the intercept is -3. And we can even switch sides. That y can come first and the 2x minus 3 can be on the right side. No matter how you organize the parts of the equation, it still means the same thing. We can quickly identify the slope and the intercept. However, there is another form that we have to be aware of. This form is called standard form, and it's a little bit different than slope-intercept form. In slope-intercept form, we can see that our y variable is isolated on one side of the equation. For our equation 4x plus 2y equals 10, you can see that the x and the y term are on the same side of the equation. This is not in slope-intercept form. We cannot identify the slope or the intercept at all. We do have the ability, though, to manipulate the parts of this equation and isolate that y variable so it sits alone by itself on one side of the equation, and we can get this standard form equation into slope-intercept form. Let's take a look at how we do that. First, let's get rid of the 4x term. Let's do the inverse. If we take away 4x from the left side, we also have to do that from the right side. We zero out the term, and what's left is 2y equals. Now I can order these terms however I see fit. I'm going to bring the -4x to the front, the loss of 4x, and then the gain of 10, that will follow. Now, one more step and the y variable will be alone. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Let's divide this by 2 and 1 out that coefficient. But let's divide this side by 2 as well. As we divide each term by 2, -4 divided by 2 gives us -2x, and +10 divided by 2 gives us +5. We can clearly see that the slope is -2 and the intercept is +5. We were able to take an equation in standard form and put it into slope-intercept form by using our algebra skills. Let's try a couple more together before we begin our assignment. On your notebook paper, please jot down -3x minus 1y equals -6. Again, we would like to isolate that y variable. Let's begin by getting rid of negative 3x. Drop a dotted line, and let's do the inverse. Add 3x's to the left side, add 3x's to the right. What do we get? Negative 1y, this zeroes out, and I can organize these terms on the right how I see fit. I'll bring a gain of 3x to the front and a loss of 6 behind it. Now we're one step away from finishing. We need to get rid of the negative 1 coefficient in front of the y. So let's divide the left side by negative 1 and the right side by negative 1. This one's out, and we're left with y equals, well, a positive 3 divided by a negative 1 is negative 3x, and a negative 6 divided by a negative 1 is a positive 6, or a gain of 6. Once again, we started in standard form, and now we have slope-intercept form. Let's try one more. On your paper, write the following equation in standard form. This equation reads negative 3x minus 4y equals negative 8. Let's get this standard form equation into slope-intercept form. Let's begin by eliminating the negative 3x term. Do the opposite, the inverse. Add 3x to both sides. We get negative 4y equals, and since I have these two terms on the right side, I'm going to arrange them how I see fit. Positive 3x's minus 8. Now I just have one more task. Get rid of the negative 4 coefficient in front of the y. Simply divide the left side by negative 4 and divide the right side by negative 4. We're left with y equals, well, 3 divided by a negative 4 can be just written negative 3/4 x. That's our slope. And negative 8 divided by negative 4 is plus 2, or positive 2. Our slope is negative 3/4, and our intercept is positive 2. Now let's take a look at the worksheet. You have to complete the following assignment. Take these equations that have been given to you in standard form and convert them to slope-intercept form. Let's start by dropping a dotted line down each equation. And next, let's remember that in each equation, our goal is to isolate the y variable on the left or the right-hand side. Let's take a look at problem number 2. If you wouldn't mind, please insert a 1 just behind the subtraction symbol. And let's begin. We need to isolate that y variable, highlighted in green. Let's start by getting rid of the first term, 4x. Let's take away 4x on the left and on the right side. Here, we eliminate that 4x term, and we're left with negative 1y equals, now we can arrange these terms how we would like to. It doesn't matter the order, that's optional. But we still need to get rid of that negative 1 in front of that y. Divide both sides by negative 1. We get y equals, well, negative 4 divided by negative 1 is 4x, and a positive 12 divided by negative 1 is a negative 12. This equation is now in slope-intercept form. Let's try another. Let's take a look at problem number 6. Here we have to get rid of negative 6x to start. Let's do the opposite and add 6x to the left and add 6x to the right. We are left with negative 3y equals, and let's arrange these with the 6x first, minus 21 can go behind. Now take and eliminate the negative 3 coefficient. Divide both sides by negative 3. We get y equals 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2x, and negative 21 divided by negative 3 is a positive 7. Y equals negative 2x plus 7. Let's complete one last problem together, and then you can do the rest on your own, making sure to isolate that y variable. Let's take a look at number 7. It's actually quite simple. On the left side, we have 4y, and that's it. We just need to eliminate the coefficient of 4. So, to eliminate times 4, let's divide the left by 4 and the right by 4. We get y equals, well, negative 3 divided by 4 gives us negative 3/4 x, and then a positive 16 divided by 4, that's plus 4. Our equation is now in slope-intercept form. Complete the rest of the problems on your own and check your work against the answer key. This concludes the video on slope-intercept form.